Hey everyone, Star Night here. For today's video, we're gonna be drawing Sunoo from Enhypen. If you haven't checked my last video, I drew a scene from Enhypen's music video, which is Fever. And there I mentioned I'm gonna draw Sunoo. So here we are. So for our first piece for today, this is the reference that I use. So I picked a simple one since this is gonna be a little bit of a warm-up for me. So I hope you enjoy this cute little drawing session. So I want to apologize first since my voice is a little raspy because I kind of have a cold, but I'm sort of feeling good now, don't worry. Right now we're just sketching the character and the clothes. Since the pose of our character is just looking straight forward at us, it wasn't that hard. I did some adjustments so it fits to our canvas. I'll be honest, drawing Sonu was a lot of pressure because visually he's both pretty and handsome. Like, can we all agree he's one of the most beautiful person out there? Especially when I saw his pre-debut pictures, he already looked good. So yeah, that was my thought while drawing Sonu. After sketching the character, we're now adding the grayscale color. With this method, it will help me to color the character later more easier and faster. It's one of the techniques that I really enjoy doing. Doing school and drawing at the same time is really hard. Lately, I've been having a hard time putting my art studies to my schedule because schoolwork is like loads and loads of work. Sometimes I planned something ahead of the week and then all of a sudden my whole schedule is ruined because of one assignment taking too much time. I know it's just time management, but sometimes I feel like 24 hours is not enough in one day to do the things that I love. But still, I'm very grateful whenever I go back to drawing. Since I don't usually draw every day, I have this fear, what if I became bad with art again? What if my drawing doesn't go up to standards again? Like, what if my skills get rusty again? So I'm very grateful that my drawing is still consistent. After adding the dark shadows, we're just smoothing it out with the blending tool. This will help the face look more smoother and it will help a lot with your piece. Remember to not blend all of your shadows. Make sure that you have hard edges. Since you're drawing a face, it's important that you have a structure. After adding the hard shadows, we're now just adding the lighting. Since the light source will be coming from the left, it will only hit this part of the nose, this part of the cheeks, and the mouth. So basically, this will help give more structure to the face of our character. For the hair, I just followed my sketch since this is the form that I want it to look like. Usually whenever I do hair, I just look at the bigger shapes so I won't be overwhelmed with all of the details. And this helps me break down where I should put the shadows, where I should put the lighting. That's why practices is really important. You're gonna learn what are the mistakes that you do and what are the things you need to fix. With the shadows, we just have to follow the flow and the form of the hair. For me, drawing each strand is like a finishing touch, but you should first focus on the overall shape and how the hair would look like if you put the big shadows. So I'll be quiet here for a while. Feel free to join and draw with me. And yeah, I hope you feel cozy while watching my drawing session. Now, this is the fun part. This is where we adjust the color balance of our piece. Since the environment of our drawing will be pink, I'll be using a lot of pink colors. One tip I can give is when you're doing your shadows, it's really important to take into consideration what is the environment, what is the color of your environment, and it will affect the shadows and the lighting. So we just added here a shadow to multiply to help give our piece more depth. And here I felt like the eyes are missing something, so I decided to put more details into it. And the eyes are really important since this will help give who this person is. And Sono is known for his like cat eyes. And then here we're just adding the details for the mouth. And keep in mind, I'm still not forgetting where the lighting source is coming from. It's really important for the shadows and the saturated parts of the lips. Now we're just adding these soft lighting so I can figure out what type of environment this piece will be. Since mostly the background will be blurry, I didn't give much detail into it. For the brush, I set the layer into add glow. It works really well, especially when you're adding more highlight to your piece. Here, I'm just adding different hues of pink so the colors won't be dull and there's more variation. I'm just adding some strands of highlight to the hair to give more detail, and it helps the hair to look more realistic since the hair is not perfectly shaped, like there's a lot of strand going on. And I just added some highlights to the background to make sure that the lighting goes well, and it helps the piece to look more sparkly. Drawing Sono in a straight face was really awesome. So here's our first piece for today. It was a really good warm up before I go into a more difficult poses and piece. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this piece. For this part, I just did a quick speed paint of the sketch since we're gonna do another piece later. And I feel like it's boring to watch my whole sketch, so we're gonna move on to coloring. So for this reference, I use this photo. Now the pose will be a lot more complicated than earlier since it has foreshortening. But as long as we can capture the shape of the pose, it will be easy for us to do it later. Sketching the whole piece wasn't that tough. That's why references are such a big help. So lately, you know how I've been really obsessed with Enhypen. And you know what comes after obsession? You're gonna start collecting albums, photo cards, and a lot of stuff. Recently, I've been buying a lot of albums, and it's been a problem. You know the feeling you want to pull your bias, but different members keep coming home? I want to pull Sono so bad, but other members keep coming home. I mean, I don't have a problem with them. I love all of them, but he's like my favorite. But overall, opening and unboxing an album is really fun. It was a really good experience. It's like you're doing a gacha game where you don't know who's the character you're gonna get. It's a lot of surprise. But this addiction is really bad since your money is gonna suffer. Now let's go back to the drawing. For this part, I'm just filling out my sketch with the grayscale color. At the same time, I'm also doing the shadows and the lighting. You know how most of my piece doesn't have any line art? I think the hardest part for this technique is capturing the shape of a certain object because you need to play with the shadows and the lighting. Unlike when you have line art, you can easily show what the flow of the hair is and what's the shape. For this part, I just added the big shapes of the shadows before I go to the small details. This will help me figure out which are the parts that needs more shadows, and so I won't be overwhelmed with all of the details. Because sometimes if we look at our reference, and usually they have a lot of details and things that are kind of confusing at first glance. That's why it's so important to capture the bigger picture first before going into the small parts. After doing the grayscale color of our piece, we're now doing the colors. I'm just adjusting the shadows and the halftone. And one of the complicated part here is I'm trying to figure out how I should color the background. Since some of them are in the same layer, I need to lasso each object so I could color them separately. Since there's a lot of straight lines in this background, I need to keep in mind the angles that they're going so it won't look wonky and it doesn't look weird when we first see it. After putting the base color of the background, we're also doing the lips. I just use a more saturated color of the skin tone, and then I'm probably gonna use the color of the lips for the blush later. And here I set the layer to multiply and I added those big purple shadows to add more depth into our environment. Since the whole piece will be a lot of pinks and purples, the shadows will also be a lot of pinks. And since this character is a 3D object, we also need to put shadows below him. For the tiles, I use these lines. I forgot what they're called, but I use them for the foreground to add more details, and then I use a soft eraser, and then I erase some parts. Then we just added some soft lighting, and then we just made sure that the pieces are going together. Overall, doing the second piece was really fun. I get to do a more complicated pose compared to the first one, and it's been a really great practice for me. Sometimes we're lost on what are the things that we need to improve on. Like, we can't see our own mistakes. That's why it's important to ask other people. Right now, we're just adding some add glow and more color dodge to make the piece more shiny and the ray of light. I'm very satisfied with the second piece for Sunoo. I feel like I need to practice more with the contrast of my colors and my choices. But overall, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with the result of our piece. For our final drawing today, this is the reference that I use. I'm feeling very happy today since I drew a lot of Sonu. And I want to draw him again. Like, honestly, he's the cutest and such an icon. For our final drawing today, I didn't show the sketch since it's gonna take a lot of time. And I feel like it's gonna be boring if you just watch me sketch. So I feel like this is the most exciting part, putting the gray colors. I don't know if my process is really entertaining, but I hope you're still enjoying or learning something while watching me. I know I have a lot of stuff I need to learn, from recording to editing videos to doing voiceovers, but I really enjoy doing content. That's why I really try my best to improve the quality of my videos and my drawing. Like, I've been practicing every day. I love sharing my process and the things that I learn while studying my drawings and my art and, like, basically everything in general. I know I've said this a lot of times, but Enhypen has been really a good inspiration for me. Because of them, I started to push myself to do things that I am so afraid of doing back then. They've been a really good inspiration for me, and it's really fun drawing them. I would love to draw the whole group again, but it will take a while since the last time I drew all of them, it took me 1 week. Now, I know that's a long time, but since I have school, it's hard to juggle with my schedule. Going back to the drawing now, I'm just adding the shadows and the lips of our character. Here, I noticed that the eyes are too low. That's why I need to adjust it and make sure that it lines up with the ears. For the clothes, it wasn't that hard since it's just a whole black hoodie. And later I'm gonna make it more darker. That's why the shadows are not gonna be too detailed since it's gonna be covered later. The hair was a little complicated since there's a volume like in this part of the hair, in the middle part, and it's because of the angle of the character. I need to do a lot of adjustment. With the shadow of the hair, I first shaped out the different parts. Since there's a lot of shadows going on, it took me a long time to figure out how to do the shadows here. And by part, I added these strokes to add more details. Then I just added more darker shadows to complete the form of the hair. Remember that if you're doing a shadow in the hair, make sure that it's cohesive with the way the wave is going on. Like make sure it doesn't go everywhere. Then after doing the big shadows and details, we're now adding the small parts. I love adding these random highlights to the hair to make it look more realistic. And these dark small strands that's popping up. Now we're just adding the colors by adjusting the color balance, and we just go back and forth with the hue and saturation. It's kind of hard to figure out what colors I should put since there's two colors in the environment of my reference. Since they have a very strong shadow of this type of color, it's kind of hard to put it into my work. After setting a layer to multiply and adding a purple color, now we're adding a another layer, and we set it to add glow to give more effects to the character and add more feelings. We just added more highlights to where the light is hitting, and it was really fun. After drawing all of our pieces, I learned so many things today, and I was able to appreciate what my skill level is right now. And lately, I've been really good with avoiding looking at likes and views. And I just want to enjoy the things that I love doing. And I believe one day all of my hard work will pay off. And I hope a lot of people will benefit. And I hope I was able to help go through your day. And just enjoy the process of learning, everyone. We are drawing near the end. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. I really appreciate it. Here's our last piece for today. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Thank you so much for watching today's video. I had a lot of fun drawing Sunoo today, and for more videos like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.